All right, welcome, kings and queens. Today we are talking SWV and escape. Yes, y'all thought I wasn't going to come and deliver what the people want? I got you, Palace. Thanks for hanging in there with me. So let's talk. Say what you want to say about Bravo, but they always deliver when it comes to their productions. I really love how they show up and they show out when it comes to being able to lay out a story and or a new reality series in front of us. Okay. They started from the beginning and they brought us up to speed regarding both groups, how they started, how they got here, the different bumps and challenges along the way. Great job, Bravo. I appreciate their ability to outline the drama, their ability to insert pivotal moments, and also I think Bravo is a bit more balanced in giving us the fun, giving us the drama, but also the tough conversations that have to be had. Let's get into it, y'all. For those of you who are just tuned in, or if you're new to the channel, welcome to the Palace. I am Queen Sheba. I cover a variety of hot topics specific to reality television. But most importantly, I hone in on the psychological and the behavioral traits of the Black experience. I am so excited to see where Bravo can take this. From my understanding, there's only 6 episodes, and maybe it's just a test and a learn pilot, but I really hope they're able to bring them back if it does well. So I'm covering this show, secondly, because my members have asked me to cover it. Thank you all so much. So far, I am enjoying the show. I love the mix of age groups for different maturity levels, as well as the chocolateness of it all, right? I love the diversity of what they bring, both groups to the table. Wisdom, emotions, a different array of emotions, different looks, different thought processes, all of that good stuff. One thing I'll tell you, though, pain will bring people together. Candy shared that part of the reason that Escape came back together and they found themselves touring again is because someone, and she didn't name the someone, attempted to steal their life story. Let's get into it. Escape and SWV. For those of you that are tuning in, are y'all ready to talk? What are your thoughts before I jump in? For the purpose of today's conversation, I am going to focus on the Scott sisters and their dynamic with their mother. Okay? One thing I noticed from jump, well, let me back up. I am going to start with LaTocha first. The strongest singer, in my opinion, and also probably the favorite child, as her sister Tamika has labeled her. So I'm going to start with LaTocha. I noticed from jump, LaTocha appears to be emotionally numb. So I quickly asked myself, wait, I'm picking up that she's maybe numb emotionally. So then that led me to the next question of how does she get here? Or how does she get there? And I watched this show twice. I went back and I watched it again. And I said, I'll tell you how she got here. She has an asshole of a husband that is running her into the ground for his financial benefit. Allegedly. That's how she got here, in my opinion. When he spoke to his son about the privileges and a lifestyle allotted to his son, he accredited that to himself. And then she said, just you? And then he accredited to this also the contributions of his wife. Sir, you are just the manager. She's the talent. So that was the first red flag for me. Okay. I almost turned off the television because I thought, I don't want to see this again. I cannot stand to see another show that highlights another man taking credit, right, off the back of a woman's work. That man, this man, in my opinion, has run this lady into the ground. This woman has become a shell of herself based on my observations. Okay. I don't know much about LaTocha's background other than her being the lead singer of Escape. But I will tell you this. I'm picking up a lot of hurt and pain. That's what I'm picking up. I feel like this man has worked her so hard that maybe she's lost her identity outside of her performance and her persona on stage. And it breaks my heart. It really does. Because when you ask, how can she turn her head to her husband allegedly stealing her sister's money? That's how. She's become emotionally numb. She understands that her job is to perform, and she entrusts everything to him. So if he says, I didn't steal it, she's going to ride with him. Now, do I believe that he allegedly stole that money? Absolutely. People don't make up stuff like that for nothing. Absolutely. I believe that. Yeah. And the crazy part is, Tamika would have never known that she had money coming to her had it not been for Tiny. Okay. So that's how she's become numb. So numb that she probably does not experience the pain around her. Okay. Now, I have to look at this from her point of view. I understand my point of view. I understand your point of view. And that's the angle I was coming at. Like, let me look at this from her point of view. And when we look at it from her point of view, it can get a bit tricky, right? Here's the thing. I feel like her husband probably only shows her affection if and when big checks come through, if and when big performances are landed, if and when big deals are made. Other than that, I think she has a manager and not a husband. I could be wrong, maybe that's just the tone of their relationship. But I'm looking at all of this, trying to get a better understanding of who LaTocha is, both past and present. And hold up, I have a question. Did he allegedly, or did he not, have a baby just recently outside of his marriage to LaTocha? What are your thoughts? Let's move on to Tamika Scott. Tamika comes across a bit more jovial, lighthearted, and free to me. That's kind of what I'm getting from her. I haven't gotten a sense that she's the type that will go there unless she feels like she needs to, right? And it's kind of crazy because you have two sisters, right, from the same household. That's see things completely different when it comes to their dynamic. I feel like one of them is thriving emotionally while the other one is suffering emotionally, right? And her career is her outlet. It was her coping strategy. Tamika, based on what they showed us on the show, seems to have a very loving relationship with not only her husband, but her children. Now, I don't know if this is editing, but I feel like she was shown in a completely different light than what LaTocha was shown in. All right. Now let's talk about the dynamic between the two sisters and their mother. I feel like LaTocha, although deemed to be the most successful one, seems to have a bit of resentment for her sister, Tamika. I think what's happening here within the sister dynamic is one of them, by way of her success, has been deemed untouchable by the family, aka the mother. Okay? You don't touch LaTocha, and when I say touch her, I don't mean physically. I just mean in this world of protection, in this household, she's off limits, right? And that's what I'm getting from the mother towards Tamika. And also the how the mother has probably amped her up over the years. Like, she's untouchable. That's what I'm picking up. And I think that's why you experienced the stink ass attitude from LaTocha toward Tamika. I feel like LaTocha has bought into her own stardom. And that's the problem. And that is a problem. Her husband has baited her there. I think he fed her that along the way and has ingrained in her head, you're the star, you're the star, you're the star. And everybody else should operate around you. Everybody else should adjust according to you being the star. I guarantee you, if she were not married to that man, her family dynamics would be completely different. She told you that this man came into her life at a very young age, demanding and taking control. Wow. She gave a very detailed example that she was in a studio recording with her then boyfriend, and her now husband came in and told her boyfriend, you can leave. She's going to be mine. Yeah. And they were young. Now imagine a young man that young coming in, operating in that energy. That's a lot of confidence. But anyhow, he saw stardom, in my opinion, and he kicked in the door. Not only that, not only is he her manager, but I suspect he manages that entire family, with the exception of Tamika Scott. And when I say manage, I don't mean by way of talent. I feel like he tells everybody what to do, and they go along with it. Now I want to shift into talking about the mother of the sisters, right? I feel like she pulled a power play when she invited Tamika over to talk about what's going on between the sisters. Oh yeah, that was a complete power play, mom. I feel like the mother chose her home on purpose, right? Because when it's my house, it's my rules. And at any point, if I feel like you become disrespectful or I deem you as being wrong, I'm going to step in as the mother. I'm going to pull my mother card and I'm going to shut you down. At that point, should you decide to push back, and I'm giving this to y'all from a psychological and the behavioral perspective, right? I think the mother is conniving in more ways than one, just based on this scene. Not me knowing anything about her outside of this scene. I feel like she was very conniving and she pulled the mother card, right? And if I feel like it as the mother that you're pushing back at that point, you have one or two options. Either you can get out or you can get on board with my plan. Now, I'm not buying into the notion that LaTocha felt body shamed and Tamika body shamed me and called me out in front of everybody. Girl, stop. This is that sisters don't break apart for that. Sisters say worse shit in homes growing up if they don't fist fight and hit each other. So don't play with us regarding that's what has caused you ladies to be divided. I don't buy into that. I feel like you're using that, LaTocha, as a technicality. But I do want to say this. I did feel LaTocha's pain and her shame when she shared how she was performing in Brazil and the promoter came backstage and addressed her as the big girl. That broke my heart too, right? I understood that. And I understand how that can make somebody feel. But LaTocha, you cannot stay there. You cannot allow that to become so embedded and imprinted in your brain that you can't move forward. Because this is what happens when you do. Any slight mention of your body, of your booty, or anything like that, you feel called out. You feel attacked. And that's not necessarily the case, okay? I think the real issue is that you didn't like the fact that your sister has become chummy and friendly with both Tamika and Candy. That's what I think the real issue is. All right, so let's talk about this meeting. So they met at Mom and them house, and they start to talk about what went wrong. Pay attention. Did you see the code switch? LaTocha code switch when she got to her mother's house. She literally became the model child. She reached out for her sister. She hugged her. It's like, you need to hug me. I'm your sister. We are sisters. Girl, rewind the tape. You wanted nothing to do with your sister. You barely acknowledged her when you had a meeting and a luncheon with the other members from Escape as well as the group SWV. So LaTocha completely code switched on her sister so that she became the model child. And basically her sister was the evil stepsister in a sense. So that also told me a little bit about this dynamics. You like to play and you poke your sister, right? And you treat her like shit in front of everybody else. But when you get in front of your mother, you turn on the charm. Woo! Charm is deceitful. Charm is deceitful. But anywho, I hope y'all caught that code switch, complete switch. And then her mother asked the girls to start telling her what's going on between the two of them. At this point, we know she knows as a mother, but I guess this is for television, so we'll give her that. So they're giving a little bit of background, and the mother turns to Tamika. And in that moment, she asked Tamika to justify her text message. Now, she didn't say justify it in those words. She says, what would make you send a text like that to call your sister out? Y'all, when someone comes at you like that, they're asking you to defend your viewpoint. They're not coming with an open mind nor a heart of understanding to gather neutral information to be able to assess both sides. In that moment, her mother picked a side, which was LaTocha's. And I think maybe that's why Tamika shared that LaTocha has always been her mother's favorite child. Man, imagine that. I know parents say they don't have favorites. I believe they do. And I don't think there's a wrong. I think parents have their children, and sometimes one child may have a personality or something about them that you're able to identify with very closely. That's natural. I don't think it's necessarily wrong, but I think it's wrong when the kids can feel a big difference in how you treat one versus the other. Does that make any sense? What are your thoughts? Now, I think that was the wrong approach on the behalf of the mother. You're taking sides, ma'am, at this point, and that happens often in Black households where you cannot go against your brother or your sister, even at the cost of your own personal feelings. Y'all, this is going to be a very good show. I'm going to enjoy breaking this down. I will go deeper about Black households and what goes on in this house stays in this house and our members only live. I will go deeper about how I feel about having to put your feelings aside for the sake of the family. And I think that's the reason why we have so many problems and challenges in the African American community like we do today. Because people were not allowed to express themselves when they should have been as children. Let's talk about it. Okay, let's shift the conversation. I just want to review very quickly a little bit about new stardom versus old stardom. And I'm not sure if I'm using the correct terminology. Please forgive me if I'm not. But I love when SWV entered into the luncheon. They came just as they were. I love the way that SWV attempted to bless the younger group with wisdom that centered around, ladies, you got to keep the main thing. And that's your success as a group. Because if that's not the main thing, you're not going to make it. We've made it this far because we understand that the group is the main thing. Here's the problem though. I feel like, and I said it before, LaTocha has bought into her own stardom. And not only that, I feel LaTocha may feel that she's been set apart. Okay. And I think her husband has put that battery in her back. Can she sing? Absolutely. But I feel like he has poisoned her mind against uniting and adopting a healthy group mentality. Oh, honey, the pain that these women must carry down in the bellows of their soul. But you see how you can take pain and turn it into purpose and thrive and teach and educate and reach back to younger women. And I feel like that's what SWV is trying to do. And it's so beautiful. It is such a beautiful gesture, right? That's what we are supposed to do. But LaTocha is not having any of it. I feel like LaTocha is carrying her pain willingly. And when you willingly carry pain like that, and you're not willing to let things go, there's nowhere to go, y'all. There's nowhere to go. So that's my 2 cents on the first episode of SWV and Escape. And I will see you members on Sunday as we dig a little bit deeper into what we feel. And we get a little bit raw, in the members only live. That's the way, I like it. And I will see you soon.